Hello and welcome to Editing with My Wife, now with some sort of chewing sensation. My name is Hooded Philosopher and I'm here with Cheesy Loops. Cheesy Loops, what's this chapter about?
More battle!
Yes, we're still in the battlefield pretty heavily. And it will be for a little while because it's a battle. Stuff's happening.
And you gotta see all the angles.
I forgot what it's called.
You forgot who you are. How did you forget that?
Because I'm a Dorcas.
Dorcas McGorcas.
This is bad.
This is bad.
Yeah, fill the space.
Oh.
What are we doing?
Read
the recap.
Oh, recap. Sorry.
No, I was trying to figure it out too.
I forgot. I got distracted.
And you didn't actually read the recap before we ended last week, and I liked that.
Ah. And while forces on the battlefield, this is the start of the battle from Tresca's perspective. They met back up with Force and Flo. Force expressed urgency to get onto the battlefield, seeing as how they had little time. Flo expressed her sadness of Tresca going to Rokai because they all love her so much. They head into position. What?
Keep.
Yeah, I'm getting there. And are taken to the battlefield. They're getting into position.
Continue. I wasn't trying to stop you.
You keep pointing at the
Talking.
screen.
I know. I was saying, look over here. There was something to say. You were like, and pausing and stuff.
Well, I was doing the battlefield part, and I kept trying to remember that. Big giant ball flows toward them while they're in their positions. And Tresca pushes all the soldiers out of the way. And big giant crater forms below her because of her icy, icy coldness. Sloane dies yet again.
That's not what it says, Sloane. It doesn't say Sloane. What does it say?
It's Scalone. But it's
because
Sloane.
that's because I actually know it's not. I messed up and I intentionally messed up and then I accidentally and my mind didn't corrected itself, I guess. But the idea was it wasn't him. It was a Sloane clone.
It was a Sloane. A Sloane.
I can't believe I messed that up and it was right in front of me, squiggly line and everything.
It was cool. Okay.
It should have a squiggly line, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Draylen cuts into the scene and he's been apparently fighting. Apparently.
No. He was coming in as the bird and dropped in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no. That's what I'm saying. Sloane's there. Draylen comes in. Seems like he's been fighting Sloane for a bit. And then moves on. And then Rohan fights Tresca. And then this loud fear me off in the distance happens. And Rohan goes to turn around to go help out. And gets venom in the back of his head.
And fed to the ground. And then the ground shakes.
And then the ground shakes.
That happens.
That totes my goats happens.
But it happens again here. So.
Well, yeah.
In chapter 30, bring me his head. I need to make sure that my mouse is fully engaged because I'm going to be reading from my cell phone.
I know.
All right. That took long enough. And I'm stalling now. Nathaniel stood on the outskirts of River's force. He watched as a lone figure appeared on the dune, far off, out of sight. Then more, until the sand became difficult to see. All of the people that stood in the mass were his people. Visions of them writhing on the battlefield, screaming and burning. The voices began to enrage him. The frustration built, ready to explode out of him. Tresca took his hand. It was cold. No one will judge you if you kill. History will understand. If it were history's judgment that I was afraid of, your words would be reassuring. But today, the judge I fear the harshest of all is myself. Nathaniel said, opening himself up. Force and Flo were nearby. And Nathaniel nodded to Flo, who nodded back. You began to feel the heat return to her hand. Rokai walked up to them. Sloane had sent a message. Deliver to him his son, or we will face the wrath of the divine, he said rather lamely. With love by our side, our flame will never cease. He was looking into Tresca's eyes.
You're very flat.
Right now, we cannot give him the child, nor will we, Tresca said, staring back. Their love reminded Nathaniel of what he had lost. My app just disappeared. I didn't touch the screen. I was just reading. I'm sorry. What is going on here? What? Stop it.
Everything is broken.
That was weird. I'm heading back now. Where was I? Their love reminded him of the family he lost. The love and the life of it. He walked ahead toward the opposing army. The seed of chaos was in his head, rattling around in his mind. I am eager, Nathaniel. Deliver to me the chaos you owe me. He stood between the two armies. A strong wind carried his voice to the edges of the opposing army. The voice of chaos spoke with him. The lives of your armies will not earn you the love of your child. Your magic may steal the love from the heart, but may steal his love, but his heart will remain. Oh, sorry, my glasses. And now I'm lost. Shoot.
Your magic may steal the love, but his heart will remain his.
Until he decides. He tugged at his heartstring and then continued. Think for yourselves. Think of your families. Think for your lives. I will not be your friend long. The seed of chaos amplified the fear, turning it into horror. As words floated over, the several men dropped their weapons. In their haste to leave, the weapons of their allies stopped them in gruesome display. Sloane's voice came back, a divine echo. Actions describe a man better than words ever could. Your deceptive words will not bring about an end to the actions you brought upon yourself. He looked back at Tresca, who was holding Rokai tightly. Your lives will not stop my 200-year search for my own flesh and blood. The wall of people began to advance. Nathaniel walked back to Tresca. Rokai went with force to get the armies on the move. I will be with my husband at the front, she explained. Nathaniel was afraid for many people in this upcoming battle, but he knew she did too, that her confidence would keep her safe. Rokai returned, their army advanced.
What's wrong?
Why the Rokai returned is there. Nathaniel walked against the soldiers to the back of the ranks, where he agreed to meet Flo. She stood around. A few enemy soldiers had been teleported here. Two became corpses faster than the brown leaf could save them. The third was being cared for by Flo directly. She was shouting, "Bring me fresh wrappings and get this armor off!" Everyone around her was hesitating except Nathaniel, who did what she asked, and with haste. A massive explosion happened behind them. Its intensity shook the crowd back into action. "I'm bringing more. Get ready," he told Flo, who nodded, distracted by the screaming man. He took off, tapping into his arcane liquor. He saw the aftermath of the explosion, a crater that surely claimed many lives. He saw two men gathering their senses, but one was laying below them on the ground, blood oozing out of his leg. He stopped to pick him up. Look at all this beautiful destruction," the seed hummed in his mind. He continued his task, bringing the man back to Flo. Ella was there, helping the injured. "I need arcane liquor," she demanded. Nathaniel took a swig from the flask before handing it to Ella, who drank the rest. Together they took off, bringing more wounded. The battlefield was absolute chaos. After he grabbed the 10th person, Ella was out of the liquor. He stayed on the battlefield fighting with her people. The place was filled with unrestricted violence. He was getting used to it. Nathaniel placed a wounded soldier on the last available bed, surrounding him. The last available bed surrounded him. That doesn't sound right. "Ella is out of arcane liquor, and the battle cannot go on much longer. It is time to end this," he said grimly, his own stores of arcane liquor running low. Deep inside his mind, he heard the echo. "Bring me his head." Chaos was ready to ensue. He ran out to see an unstoppable force meet an unmovable Tresca. Fog filled the battlefield. He used the last of his heartstring and shouted, "Fear me!" The voice rang out. For a moment, chaos was instilled into that voice. It was a sound not heard until the echoes. A sound was not heard until the echo subsided. The ground shook.
Okay, so. I forgot what my note was, and I even remembered it when you were reading it. Okay. So, do we want to start with yours? Because mine's about middle.
I wrote first. Rokai was mocking him when he said, instead of it's after. This would put it before his repetition of, or his relaying the information Sloane gave one of the soldiers.
Oh, so the note?
Sent the messenger, yeah.
Sloane delivered.
No, Rokai speaking.
Yeah, Rokai walked up to them. Sloane sent a message. Deliver to him his son, he said lamely.
So, Rokai was mocking him when he said...
I don't know what else you could be talking about. It's the only time Rokai really talks.
Rokai walked up to... That's it right there. Rokai walked up to them. I'm going to delete that.
That's what you said in the other one.
What?
That's what you said in the last chapter. Rokai walked up to them. Sloane sent a message.
Oh, is this?
What do you...
Okay, we're going to ignore that then, because I forgot that it was in there.
Yeah.
So it must be fine then. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'll leave it alone.
He knew she was afraid for them too.
Yeah, that's where the Tresca was...
Before we do that, mine is right there. Sloane's voice came back, a divine echo.
Oh, my mouse isn't working. I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know where you're reading right now.
Right here. Your lies will not stop my 200-year search for my own flesh and blood. How long did he know that his son was here?
200 years.
His son has been on this place for 200 years. No. So
He's been on there for 200 years.
He has been. Has he been searching for his son this whole time?
Yes. He was expecting his son to be. And then coming 200 years later.
Okay.
That's what happened.
Okay. I just was curious as to that.
He's been here since before Tresca.
I know. I understand this.
Well, 200 is just a round number. Not a specific one.
Yeah. I was just curious, like, how can he... why was he searching him for 200 years?
Because he was expecting to see his son somewhere, but it never came.
Okay.
And now there's hints of him, and he wants to see, and they're all hiding him.
Okay. That was my biggest confusion about that. But we're going to go to... this one right here. Where you're saying he knew she was afraid for them too.
And then there's one more.
The next one is the fighting in the battlefield was filled with frenetic clamoring. What is that in? Da 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 da. Da 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 da. These are your notes.
I know, I just don't remember exactly where it was. Say it again.
The fighting in the battlefield was filled with frenetic clamoring. I don't ever remember hearing...
Absolute chaos. I hated that.
Oh, okay, hold on.
Oh, my mouse is searching for it still.
Yes. The battlefield was
filled with
frenetic clamoring. Frenetic. But there's not much else. This one's really short. It gets to the point, and
shows you what Nathaniel was doing while Tresca was doing her thing.
Yes.
And now we see what happens when Draylen, because he came in Tresca's chapter and then went to go help people, and now you'll see what in the next chapter what he was going to do, and that has to deal with why the earth shook, Right?
Yes.
Because that's Draylen.
Has to be. And then you figure out what these Sloans are about. The Sklones.
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 Oh, that was clever.
Um,
Happy it worked.
question of the day. Is there one? And is it really the question of the day?
Or something like that, yeah.
Because
That's just the idea.
the plan is this goes out with our last question of the day too.
Yeah, you're right. So that this question of the day, if you want to, you can post here. If we kind of reminded you maybe in this chapter what was the question?
The question was, what do you judge yourself for the most?
I will just put this in the what do you judge for yourself the most here as well. So if you think of another thing, or maybe you thought of it during this chapter, right here.
Yes.
So thank you for watching.
You got to do a recap.
We're gonna recap though.
We're gonna recap really quickly.
But this is now where you're gonna have some troubles.
No, it's not, because Nathaniel is being told by everybody it's not bad if you kill everybody. And he, in turn, goes to gather people off the battlefield to help heal them. He's trying to give Chaos his chaos. He's trying to give the Seed of Chaos his chaos. But he's also trying to help all these people. And I think that was rather kind of beautiful. Every now and again he steps out of that to go do something, to go help the people out with magic other than pulling off wounded off the battlefield, like the Fear Me. But he's really trying not to kill anybody, and you can see it. As a way to not judge himself so harshly. He's trying to do good.
Yeah.
And Nathaniel is quite scary. Because Nathaniel could do some crazy damage here. I mean, he's got Chaos backing him up.
Yeah.
Anytime that Nathaniel uses
And
magic...
Chaos wants him to do it.
Yes. Anytime Nathaniel uses magic in this instance, Chaos bolsters it, drives it harder. And so Nathaniel can do some crazy damage. And he's not. He's helping people.
Yep.
And Chaos still gets a little bit of that feed because...
I mean, it wants out, though. It wants something else.
It wants out, but the thing is that the wounded side of war is very chaotic. People running around, people screaming.
And that, if you've ever watched MASH, it's very chaotic.
Very
sometimes.
chaotic.
And that's even though they're trying to maintain the order, like in the human body, and keep that stuff still flowing. It's the chaos outside is terrifying, even though the order inside is like many times more terrifying than the chaos outside.
So this is feeding Chaos a little bit, and he is.
He just wants it. He just wants it. He just keeps talking.
He's not upset. This is the side of Chaos he gets to see right now. It feels like, but he does want more. So.
All right.
Thank you so much.
We love you.
Have
like,
a good
comment,
day.
subscribe. Bye.
Bye.